With me today are Jia-Rong Low and Save Vocea, who will give us an update about Asia-Pacific engagement. Welcome, gentlemen. Jia-Rong, let's start with you. The APAC Regional Office recently just celebrated its 4th anniversary in August this year. What are some of the key achievements that you're proud of?
Thank you, Liana. There are 3 areas. The first is that we've built the Asia-Pacific Regional Office in terms of its capabilities. So today, we have ICANN's key functions brought closer to the region. And we have now 11 of ICANN's key functions that's based out of the Singapore office. The second area is really about community participation. So in our 4th anniversary special report, in it highlights the various areas and the stakeholder organizations and advisory committees in which the Asia-Pacific community members are a part of. I'm very proud to say that today our community is involved in all of ICANN's SO and ACs. This is one area that I'm extremely proud of. A third area is in terms of working with the technical community to contribute to the stability, security, and resiliency of the internet. We do this by working with various hosts to install the ICANN-operated root server instances throughout the region, and also to conduct various capacity building workshops to help to strengthen the network operators' operations in terms of the DNS. So these are 3 areas I'm very proud of.
Save, what about the Oceania region? What do you count as key achievements for you?
Yeah, just adding on from what Jia-Rong has said, when we look at the participation in the advisory committee in ICANN, we're very happy to say that in the Pacific and Oceania region, we have 100% representation for the government advisory committees. So that in itself is a big achievement, in that now all the governments in the Pacific do receive communique and communications from the GAC Secretariat. Another area that we've been able to work well within the region is to promote the hosting of root server instances. So there's about, from the 27 countries, territories in the region, there's about over 40 instances of root servers, and that's including the L root that Jia-Rong was talking about. So that plus, in terms of stakeholder engagement, we've also been happy to get participation from the at-large structures. So, many of them came through the fellowship program, and it was great that they went back home and they created their own little at-large structures, and they're now fully engaged in ICANN.
Jia-Rong, have you encountered any major obstacles or challenges?
Definitely. The first actually is that, as you would know and everybody listening would know, that half of the world's internet users come from our Asia-Pacific region. But unfortunately, the participation within ICANN is not proportionate to the wider internet community from Asia-Pacific. This is something that we worked very hard on. Like I mentioned earlier, even though we have our Asia-Pacific community members participating in all the SO and ACs, the proportion can be done much better. Now, to do so has a number of challenges. The first is that of basic understanding. A large part of our region is developing, so we have to let people understand what ICANN does, the role of ICANN in the internet ecosystem, as well as how to participate, which is participating in the multi-stakeholder model. These are some topics that are quite foreign to some of our internet stakeholders. The second area in terms of a challenge really is about language and culture, because we have a very diverse community. Most of them don't speak English as a first language. So being able to participate using English is a challenge. And the third part related to this is the cultural aspect, because as Asians, we tend to be more reserved and we don't speak up in a public forum. So we have to work very hard to try to facilitate ways for our community to practice, to be able to speak up. So these are some challenges that we've encountered.
Save, your region has many underserved territories as infrastructure is still underdeveloped. What other challenges do you face in your work?
That's correct, Liana, because I can echo everything that Jia-Rong has just said. But when you look at the Pacific Ocean and you have little territories that are dispersed around this big Pacific Ocean, and I think it's a challenge in its own to reach those communities. So yeah, definitely the access to ICANN. When they think about, when we talk to them about ICANN and how they can participate in ICANN, one of the things that comes to mind is how can they get funded to come. So I think we're trying to address that through fellowships, but then still a big number of them can't have access. So we're trying to address that by going into the regions and speaking to them on one-on-one basis, or sharing with them about ICANN. I'd say that it is.
So what is next for the Oceania region? What are your plans for next year?
The region right now, what's energizing the region right now is there's going to be a lot of cables that's connecting the island countries. So with that comes those issues around security. For us, when we talk about the technical and engagements, I'd like to see that we can work closely with the service providers in deploying IPv6, and also seeing that many more CCTLDs, the country code top-level domain registries, they implement DNSSEC, and also to work with ISP. So if we can improve the stability, the resiliency of the networks in the region, in the Pacific, that'll be really good for them.
Okay. So Jia-Rong, what are your top priorities for APAC for the next year?
So echoing Save, the first area really is on the technical side. So we want to be able to strengthen, especially on the technical engagement portion. So very recently, in the last couple of months, David Conrad, our CTO, visited Asia and did an Asia tour. So we have a number of takeaways in which we will follow up on working with the community. A couple of these Save already mentioned, like increasing DNSSEC adoption. So that's one area. Another area is researching and thinking about how can we improve the DNS traffic within the region. So that's another key area as well. Now, second portion is, as I had mentioned, we need to continue working with the community to facilitate their participation. So our initiatives like the local ICANN readouts, as well as the regional APAC space, these are key platforms for us to work with the community. And this will continue to be a key priority. And within the APAC space, we've evolved and into allowing for the community to take the lead. And that is in the formation of community subgroups to discuss on various topics in depth. So this is one area that we will also focus as a priority, working with the community.
Good. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.